All right, good evening, everyone. Here for the September 23rd, 2025 Town Commission Final Budget Hearing. Call to order. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Keller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Satterfield.
Here.
Mayor Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Ramos.
Present.
Commissioner McMullen.
Present.
Okay, so on the agenda tonight are two resolutions for the final millage and budget public hearings. We have a resolution 2025-09 and a resolution 2025-10. You want to read those now or you want to?
I'll read them now.
Okay.
Resolution 2025-09, a resolution of the Town of Oakland, Florida, adopting a millage rate for the levy of ad valorem taxes for the Town of Oakland for the fiscal year beginning on October 1, 2025 and ending on September 30, 2026, providing for legislative findings and providing for conflict, servability, and an effective date. Resolution 2025-10, a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Oakland, Florida, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026, providing for legislative findings and providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. All right, so October 1st begins the new fiscal year for the town. I know that Gabby, you probably have a little presentation you want to show us? Okay. I think if you want to follow along, those are over on the table. People in the audience, yeah.
Hello? Oh, okay. Okay. So, good evening, everybody. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to present to the commission and the residents the proposed final millage, the rollback rate, and the final budgets for fiscal year 2026. Okey-dokey. An outline of tonight's presentation. We will start with the rates. We will get public comment, and then the town commission will take action, and then we will go into the budgets, again, get public comment, and then commission will take action again. So we can go ahead and begin. So this is the presentation of the millage rates and the rollback. The millage rate for fiscal year 2025 was 6.7 mils. We presented on 9/8 that the budget was created using the same millage, and our recommendation this year is to keep the millage the same for fiscal year 2026. The rollback rate is 6.14, and the percentage change between the rollback rate and the proposed rate is 9%. That's really all I got for this part. So this is where I open it up for public comment or any questions.
Okay, anyone in the audience have any questions on the budget? Like going to happen again, but your millage rate, sorry, it's going to happen now. Any questions on millage? No? Okay, close public comment. Anybody at the table have any questions on the millage rate? 6.7.
Sorry. I'm sorry. What is the rollback rate? I don't recall seeing that before. So the rollback rate is the rate or the millage that we would have to charge in order to get the same amount of revenue that we got in fiscal year 2025.
Good. Anybody else? Okay, and you want a motion?
Yes, so the motion is to approve resolution 2025-09 to adopt 6.7 mils
Okay.
as our millage.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. Make the motion to approve resolution 2025-09.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
All right, moving right along. So Elise and I thought that it would be fun to switch it up and add some graphs. So, and to give a little bit more background as to where your money is going, and where revenue comes from and all of that stuff. So this graph right here tells you all of the funding sources for all of our funds. So we have 4 funds: the general fund, the enterprise or the water fund, our impact fees, and then the school. So as you can see in the graph, our biggest source listed is intergovernmental revenue, and that's at $9.9 million or 33%. So this source really benefits only the school and the enterprise fund. So that's comprised of state and or federal grants for the enterprise fund and then state funding for the school. Then comes our ad valorem, which is 5.8 or 20% of our revenue source. This source is our primary source of funding for the general fund. And then as you can see, 17% has been carved out for charges for services and for reserves. Charges for services is going to apply to all 4 funds, but the majority of it is going to be about 3.2 million, and that's going to benefit the enterprise fund. And for the reserves, the majority of that money is actually coming out of the impact fees. So that's a little background on the revenue sources for all 4 of them lumped together. So this is all of the expenditures kind of lumped together. So a little background on all of the funds. The general fund is the primary operating fund of a government entity, serving as the main repository for all financial resources except for those required to be accounted for in another fund. It houses public safety, general government, community outreach, or parks and rec, events, and our public works. The enterprise fund is a type of government fund that operates similar to a private business. It is designed to be self-supporting, primarily generating revenue through charges or fees for goods and services provided to the public rather than relying on general tax revenues. In our case, it would be our water and wastewater fund. And then we have 2 special revenue funds. A revenue fund is an account established by a government to collect money that must be used for a specific project. These funds are typically legally restricted or committed to an expenditure for specified purposes. In our case, it would be the impact fees and then charter school. You can skip this one. Okay, so this is the general fund's primary source of funding. So as you can see, the big blue, that's our ad valorem. That makes up 53% of our revenue in the general fund. And that comes out of the millage. And then the second largest revenue source is sales and use tax, and that's at 22%. Here's our expenditures for the general fund. And I'm really harping on the general fund because that's, like I said, our primary source of funding for the town. And that's where the majority of our services comes out of. So these are expenditures for the town. So as you can see, the big blue, that is public safety. That's 50% of our expenditures. It's at 5.4 million. So 50% of our ad valorem comes in and 50% goes out to public safety. So that I just want to outline that.
Includes fire and police.
Yes, that goes to our police officers and to our fire. So I just wanted to show you that. And then everything else, our next highest is going to be our general government, which is being blocked right now, but it's 14%, and that houses our debt repayments. And then our third is public works at 12%. And then everything else kind of fills in the gaps. You can go back to that. There we go. So in the general fund, the changes since the tentative meeting, there's been no changes to revenue. Everything there stayed the same. We're still reflecting 500,000 from fiscal year end revenues. There were changes to the expenditures though. We made changes to the general liability and workers' comp. the town renewed its coverage of general liability insurance and workers' comp with preferred government insurance, which provides both the town and the school with their general liability and workers' comp. And they were able to provide us a 38% savings this year compared to our expiring premium, as well as a 2-year rate lock. There was also changes to the compensation lines for finance, public works, and police. We moved the budgeted overtime into the compensating codes so that it shows it in a more natural way. So I had outlined it so that everybody could see how much we were spending in overtime, but in reality, it all comes out of compensation. So for the final budget, I had to move it to compensation. So if you see those moved, that's why. But the overall bottom line for all of those departments stayed the same. There were no changes overall. So with those changes to the general liability and workers' comp, our contingency went up to 302,000. So at our tentative meeting, our reserves were 135. Now we're at 302. I do want to make a note that there might have been confusion with the word reserves. That's not the only money that the town has. We have way more money than that, but this is just what's left over after we've put in all of our expenses and we've accounted for everything. That's just what's left over. So we have a net zero budget, which means every dollar has a place and we don't have a profit. So any money that's left over gets put into a contingency GL code for any unexpected expenses that come up throughout the year. So, or if another line item goes over budget. So we have 302,000 left over for that. We don't just have 302 left over in our reserves to operate the town. That's not what those reserves mean. So, yes, we were able to get a very good savings this year with our insurance. So
So the overall reserves is the 4,979,000 plus the 302?
the 302 is included in that reserves that you see in there. That's like all of it. That's all revenue funding for just that. I believe our auditor said that our reserves were at 4 million, but not 4 million plus 302 and all of that. I would have to get you the exact code, but we have at least 4.5, if not 5 months worth of reserves in there. So we're in line.
Have a little bit over 4.
A little over 4 million as our bottom line for reserves. So if something were to happen, we have enough to operate the town for at least 5 months. So, and in general fund, that's in general fund. In water fund, we have it to operate for at least 6 months or more. I think it might have gone up to 9 months now. So, yeah, we're doing okay. So. One more. There we go. Changes to water. Same thing. There was no changes to the overall revenue codes. The only changes were made to the general liability and workers' comp and the reallocation of the overtime. All of that, the general liability and workers' comp made the contingency go from 145,000 to 159,000. In impact fee, there were no changes at all since the last meeting. And then to the charter school, no changes to the revenue, but they also benefited from the renewal. So we made changes to the expenditures there, and that made their contingency go from about a little over 25,000 to 80,000 now for any unexpected expenses. So that is everything that I had to say. We can open it up for public comment and commissioner comments. So I'm going to step away now.
Anyone in the audience have any questions? Yes, Ed.
Ed Kulikowski, 51 Vandermeer Street. At our last meeting, you had mentioned that there was a tentative meeting scheduled about fire with Orange County. I'm interested to know if that happened and if there was any result from it.
Yeah, it did happen 2 weeks ago. We met with Orange County Fire. We had it was deputy chief in the meeting, along with the county administrator, Byron Brooks, who's like the county manager, Nicole Wilson, our county representative commissioner. And what came out of that meeting was obviously, you tell them, hey, It's a lot of money for what services you're giving us. I calculated it's around $700 a person is what it is when you break it up to the amount of residents that are in town. So where we left it was they are going to go back and they are going to provide us with information on the operation of the fire station. When we had asked them, hey, how much does it cost to operate the fire station? He threw out a number of $5 million. Right. Same thing I did, Ed. So they're going to go out, we're going to get the real number of what it costs to operate the station. Also, they are going to look at, and I didn't know this is possible, they're going to look at the services they provide. So for example, what they pointed out was, do we really need a hazmat truck to come to town? Do we need a ladder truck to come to town? So they're going to go back and reevaluate. We're not the only ones in this situation. You have Edgewood, you have Belle Isle, and you have Eatonville that are all going through it. And bottom line, how we left it, and Nicole as well, was that, at some point, it's not sustainable for us to do this. And we have started looking at other avenues to take up the slack we need to.
Okay, thanks for the update.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Okay. We'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the table with commission. Questions or comments?
I just have some comments.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, thank you for revisiting the insurance. I think that savings, we can all agree, is very much appreciated, especially because, as I shared at the last meeting, it's great that we have every dollar accounted for, but living off reserves is not something I'm comfortable with. So seeing that we're doing that really as our buffer this year, as opposed, we're still using 200,000, but again, I appreciate the staff, Gabby and Elise, and, working on that and making that adjustment, because it was obviously a significant savings. And then, obviously we obviously just have to really watch our spending this next year and make sure that we don't go over unless it's an absolute emergency. That's all I have to add.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just great job. The whole staff, every one of you guys did a fabulous job. Thank you so much for everything you did for what little you have. I mean, you stretched that dollar. You definitely did. So, thank you.
Yeah, I'm also going to say great job too. Thank you for the graphs. This is something that's been asked for a long time. The graphs really show a good illustration and make it easier to read. So thank you so much for pulling that trigger. And I'm going to continue to bang the horn. I know we've talked about the grant writer, and it was good to hear that the police department has a grant writer. I know Mike does it on a part-time basis. But we need to really, really think about bringing a grant writer in this house. And I know there's some thoughts around that and some potential that we're going to do that. But I just give you a quick synopsis. Valencia College has a grant writing department for the entire college. And that department covers all the grants as they come in, as they go out, as they administer them. We need to really think like we're a big organization, because there are a lot of dollars out here to support us, and it can help us avoid some of these roadblocks or some of these hitting our bottom line. And like I said, the police department is doing it. So if they're doing it to try to offset some costs, and Mike Parker is doing it on a regular basis, heck, the museum. Mike Parker and I wrote a grant for the museum many years ago. That's how we got the first $225,000. That's not something that Mike Parker should be doing, and whoever's going to replace him. And so I know we have some thoughts about it, but I'm going to continue to bang that horn. I really think we need to have a grant writer to help us offset some of these costs and take care of some of the projects. But this budget looks good, and just want to continue to make sure we are solvent and sustainable for the future. Thank you so much.
It's same as everyone. Thank you, guys. These things were just fun. I've heard that a lot of fun. So, no, they are very useful. So we do really appreciate it. So again, thank you all for the job. Appreciate it.
So I'm going to put you on the spot and just go line, just for
Shocker.
president's sake, and just kind of, so you can explain a few things on the line items here. I'm on the, and if anybody has the sheet in front of you, I'm on proposed revenues. You have a line item here for use of fund balance $500,000 for fiscal year 25, 26. Can you just kind of tell everybody what you're using that for?
Yes, so that is, so before we were able to get the savings from the insurance, we were at a deficit, and so we needed to put money from reserves. But we also needed to pay fire rescue. So 200,000 of that is going to pay for the fire rescue. And then the remaining 300 was to balance off the budget. So we were able to bring up that contingency to 300,000. And we really shouldn't need to tap into that 500,000. Because if we were to, take it away,
We have time, by the way. We got.
And Shane, I'm just, trying to figure out what, are you on the budget?
Yeah, I'm on
What
the
page?
budget sheet that came in the packet.
What page?
3. Budget 3. It's the last line item towards the bottom.
I got it.
so if we were to do the 200,000 to pay it, and then if we were only able to tap into 100,000, we would be fine overall. It's just more of like to help off the overall
Offset.
offset if something
That's
happens.
right.
Yeah, just because it is such a tight budget, we really there is no fluff in here. So it's not like we put in an extra 15,000 or 15% in every single line item. It's really down to the dollar. And some of them is projected based on, this is a fixed amount. This is, $500 times 12. Okay, this is our number. And that's what we put in there. So if for whatever reason, a company decides, oh, we're going to, mid-year increase our rates, we didn't budget for that because we don't know what it's going to look like. And we didn't at the time have a buffer to put in there. So that's why it's still in there. So we may not tap into it, but it's in there.
It's there, yeah, okay. And that goes back to your reserves, Commissioner Keller, not tapping into those. Grant writing services, you have 30,000, I think. Commissioner McMullen mentioned that. On meetings and workshops, you have budgeted 3,000 this year, but it looks like we spent 89.71.
Yes, so I did it a little differently this year. Last year and the years prior, it really wasn't budgeted the way that it should have been. So I sat down with every commissioner along with Elise, and we kind of figured out what your needs were and where exactly you wanted to go and what would the budget allow. So in there, we budgeted $600 per meeting or a workshop. So we pulled about 4 years of historical data for commissioner meetings and different types of memberships that you guys all go to and all that stuff. And so we figured, okay, if everybody goes to these and this is how much it's going to cost us. So we thought it would be in total 17,000 for all of you to have all your memberships and go to your commission meetings and to your conferences. But that particular one has always been kind of like a catch-all where it doesn't fit, it goes in there. So I try to allocate it a little bit better. You guys don't have my notes, but I have them broken down. So for example, that 3,000, it's 600 per meeting, because that's just how it's been historically. You guys have gone to that many meetings. For the 5,000 for travel and per diem, it's $500 per commissioner for your memberships, 2,500 for group membership. So you guys are all members of FLC, Tri-County, Metro Plan, that type of stuff. So it's kind of all put in there. Before, it's just been put in wherever. I tried to itemize it a little bit better and actually figure out how much it actually costs for you guys. So I don't know if this will be an accurate number. It might still be a little bit over, it might be under, but I'm hoping that this kind of helps us.
Okay. So if you added up the membership costs and the legislative events and the meetings and workshops, that's kind of what you have.
That's kind of what I totaled. Yeah.
Yeah, totaled in there. So almost $10,000. 9.
Yeah. Because this also includes your compensation in there, your little $500.
$4.99.
Or no, $599. I'm sorry, $599.
I'm moving on to the proposed expenditures on sheet 9. It's the compensation for human resources.
Yes.
And if, I mean, we'll mention it later, but our human resources director is not resigned.
Yes, she resigned. She's
So-
moving out of state.
We do have money in there, so what is our game plan for?
I'll let Elise handle this.
So we're not rehiring an HR director. What we're rehiring for after talking it through with Melody. Melody's last day was yesterday. We're hiring an HR manager that has payroll experience. And we've gotten a bunch of applications already. We just posted and we've gotten a bunch of applications, so that's good. Melody is going to stay on part-time payroll until we fill the position, just to help out with the payroll part of it. But after analyzing it, it really doesn't supervise anybody. We felt that the HR manager was a better level, so that will bring down the compensation just a little bit. So we're going to be revisiting any positions that become open to make sure that they make sense when we refill them.
Thank you. Moving down to sheet 10, it looks like it's proposed expenditures, and maybe you can answer this. Historic cemetery, we have $20,000 in the budget. Looks like last year we spent a little over almost $3,000. And you were saying that that money is allocated, supposed to be in there.
Yes, I can refer to Parker to this, but I believe it's a contract.
Sure. And that's for maintenance or something happens inside there. Sure. Great. Okay, thanks. And then I have on here, I'm on sheet 12, page 12, and our events and sponsorships. I know we have $5,000 in there. Elise and I have been trying to make the rounds to corporate sponsors, and I think corporate sponsors and partners are very important to help us offset costs for events and allow us to provide a bigger, not bigger, but better events maybe for the town and its residents. So it's great you have 5,000, but we're going to keep pushing our corporate sponsors, such as those Orlando Health and Advent and others that we've been speaking with.
Yes, I mean, I agree. We haven't really tracked sponsors, because we really didn't have huge sponsors before. And if we did, it was unfortunately just kind of put into the pot of general fund. And so we're trying to, I got with the Arts and Heritage Center and the events team, and we kind of sat down and we figured out what's the best course of action for them. So if they do have sponsorships, that they actually receive those sponsorship money that doesn't just go into miscellaneous revenue and it goes into the general fund pot. So we've created the GL code so that if they do get it, they're able to itemize it better. Or, we can at least start tracking it a little bit better. So if a sponsor goes, oh, here's $5,000, do with it what you will, then we have the GL code. Or if we have a sponsor that goes, oh, I want to sponsor your Christmas lights, we can itemize it better rather than, just assuming that we got 5,000, where did it go? So.
Yeah, we do. And we do have certain sponsors that sponsor a lot of events in a town. We do appreciate anything that we can get from those.
I just have a quick question on that.
Mhm.
So it says event sponsorships 5,000, but it's an expenditure. So is it us sponsoring things or?
So for every, like I mentioned before, it's a net zero. So every dollar that comes in has to have a dollar going out. So we can't just put in 5,000 coming in. I mean, we could, but it's going to get allocated somewhere else. So if we want it to be allocated to sponsors, we need to designate a GL code so that we can track it better.
Okay.
So when Lynn or Megan gets a sponsor and it's 10,000, then revenue will be higher than the 5 that I put in, but then that expenditure will match it so that we're able to track exactly how much we're spending. And then we could probably get more sponsors and say, hey, look, like this is what we're doing.
The next sheet I'm on is 17, and Mike, maybe you can speak on this, but the consumptive use permit, I know that we're in dire need of increasing that consumptive use permit. Looks like we have 50 grand in there. That goes probably for engineering and consultation. Okay, and we'll be hearing a lot about water over the next months here coming up. Yeah, yeah. And then on to the impact fee funds. I'm looking at water systems, additional water plant and pump designs. That $500,000, speaking of that, would go towards, we discussed that we had a presentation with a couple engineers that came in and talked about the storage tank that is needed. So I'm guessing that will probably be used towards that. Sure. Makes sense. Dirt road improvements as well. We have 500,000 in there for impact fees, and that would be what the dirt road study we had performed, which could be paving, traditional paving, or millings. We're on the same page with all that, right? Using that fund. Right. And it's not every single road. The study has to show, as we talked before, that a road has to show impact to it. So it won't be for every single road could use that money out of improvements, impact fees. Yeah. Okay. Just want to clarify that. And then also on here is Jefferson Street and Oakland Avenue improvements. I know at one time we talked about a turn lane at some point in time. I'm not sure if that's still in the book to go onto Jefferson, but I believe that was removed. And that's right. A right-hand turn is what, if you're coming westbound. Okay. That revisions to the agreement's yet to come. Okay. Understood. Moving on to, I'm in the school. Facility capital improvements. I know principal's not here. I don't know if you had any, facility capital improvements on that. It's 178,000 this year. Is that for something special? Is that what's on the agenda tonight?
I think if you look at your capital improvement plan, the school has it called out what improvements are going to be done for this year.
Is that in this packet?
It was last time. I don't know that it got put in this time.
Sorry.
Well, on the next meeting, there's the the payment for is.
Yeah, that's not capital improvement. That's something separate, but the last packet for the last meeting had the capital improvement plan because you guys approved it and the school was on there. Yes.
Get some refresher on that, be good. Thank
Mhm.
you. And then
Sure.
about the school's reserves. That's good. That's all I have.
And I just want to reiterate what Gabby was saying. The 80,000 is not their total reserves. Even with the increase, they have separate reserves. So as does the town that aren't in the budget. So that's not the only thing that they have to work with if there's an emergency.
Let's hope we don't have to touch any reserves. It's like,
I got a question about the reserves. Remind me, are we investing those dollars anywhere?
Yeah, so we have money in the state through Florida Prime, and then we have impact fees in a money market through our bank. So we have general fund and water reserves in the state.
How much are we?
So general fund, we have almost $2 million in there. And then in water fund, we have almost $1 million. And then impact fees, we have almost 4 million. So almost our entire amount of impact fees currently that isn't being used, like in our bank account, is sitting in a money market gathering impact, interest.
good interest rates too.
We gained $9,000 last time,
Yeah, we did.
our last bank statement, so.
Okay. No other questions for me. If anybody else has other questions, you need a motion.
I just was going to say again quickly that I thank you for the graph and stuff and really explaining that. I think that it's really good to have it in, I was going to say black and white, but it's color. Because as we've all talked about repeatedly over the last several meetings, for the residents to really see how things are is so important right now because like you said, for basically what we get in the ad valorem taxes goes right back out to public safety and with the impending legislative possibilities, I think it's important for our residents to see that. So thank you again. And with that, I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-10 to adopt the fiscal year 25-26 budget.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Nice job, Gabby.
Thanks.
With that, we'll adjourn.
Should I do
Clock.
graphs next time? Should graphs be a reoccurring thing?
Well, let me say this. I asked for graphs when Steve was here.
Okay.
So I sent him an email of a town in Texas that did graphs. And so and I believe Elise was CC'd on that, but this was years ago. Because, it helps with
Yeah.
explaining and illustrating it. So I've been asking for graphs for a long time. So
Okay.
please.
I will do the graphs. Listen, I don't care. I'll do it.
And they're fun, Hap.
They're not fun to make. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant.
No, but I will do that for you guys.
It's easier to understand.
Yeah, they're easier to understand.
Consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, everyone, good evening. I'll call to order the Oakland Town Commission meeting for September 23rd, 2025. Right, please stand for the pledge.
Bow our heads. Father God, thank you once again for entrusting us with your town. I ask that you give us your wisdom and discernment this evening, and that we make decisions that are best for our town, and that we honor you in all we say. In your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Looks like we got some rain out there. Kathy, no one's going anywhere.
Okay. Commissioner Keller? Commissioner Keller? Vice Mayor Satterfield? Mayor Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Ramos?
Present.
Commissioner McMullen?
Present.
All right. First item on the agenda is a proclamation for National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is in October. So whereas breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among women in the United States, affecting 1 in 8 women during their lifetime. Early detection and increased awareness are crucial to improving survival rates and saving lives. The town of Oakland recognizes the importance of supporting individuals and families affected by breast cancer, as well as the healthcare professional and researchers dedicated to advancing treatments and prevention. October is designated as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, providing an opportunity for communities across the nation to come together to raise awareness, promote education, and encourage regular screenings. The town of Oakland stands united with all those fighting breast cancer, honors those who have lost their lives to this disease, and celebrates the survivors who inspire us all. Now, therefore, I, Shane Taylor, Mayor of the town of Oakland, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the town of Oakland, and encourage all residents to join in this important observance by promoting awareness, supporting those affected, and participating in efforts to find a cure. Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. On our consent agenda tonight are the minutes from the 9/8/25 Town Commission meeting, approval of the revised personal leave policy, approval of Oakland Avenue Charter Schools mobile modular purchase, and approval of Wildan Engineering's continuing services agreement with the town. Any questions or comments about the agenda or the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion. Consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You did good, Mike.
Right up there.
Yeah. All right, next is a public forum where we open it up to anything that's not on the agenda tonight. Is any takers tonight? About anything? Wow, we're gonna get out of here. All right, we'll close the public forum. Bring it back here to the table and town manager and department reports.
Okay, so we already talked about the HR director position. So the other things that happened, it's been a busy month. The West Orange Observer had their 120th year anniversary, so we attended that on September 11th. I want to thank the Community Outreach Department. Unfortunately, Lynn had to go back over and do some work, but they had a great exhibit opening on September 12th. And then we had an amazing block party last Friday on the 19th. O&P had their Nature Fest on September 20th. I volunteered there all morning. It was a great crowd that was there. A lot of good questions. We were a lot of good engagement with the public. Gabby was also there. So just a lot of good turnout for local events. So, and then I also went to the Healthy Selfie 5K on September 13th in Ocoee to support Healthy West Orange, and it had a great turnout as well. So fall time, event time, great turnout. So I love seeing that. And then upcoming is Music Under the Oaks on October 11th. So right around the corner. We have Switch. If you haven't heard Boyd Street Radio, there's been some intros from both the mayor and Megan talking about the event. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout. I saw it in the Orange Observer as well. And then the State of the Town address on October 22nd.
Boyd Street Radio, if anybody, you can download that and listen to it. It's if you ever go to Pammy Sammy's and eat, they play it in the restaurant, but you can download the radio station, and Pam's husband Thorpe is the one that runs all that. Good music stuff, 60s, 70s, 80s. So it's all good stuff.
And everything they play, they have on their menu, right? Record.
Yeah, you look at their, yes, when you go in there, you have it on your menu. That's correct. That is correct. Moving on to Andrew, anything good with you?
No, everything's good.
Chief?
Tomorrow begins the school speed zone cameras citations. We've been under the warnings for the past 30 days. Over the past 2 weeks, we have over 100 violations. So hopefully we can get this together to where we have 0 violations. But tomorrow we've sent out all the public information, everything. Tomorrow it begins. Other than that, nothing.
Okay. Have you tracked anything at all as of to date of any violations? I know they're not being enforced, but
You mean speeds?
yeah.
Yeah, the average is right at, I think it's 13 miles an hour over
Okay.
is the average. We've only had a handful, like 2 or 3 that are like real bad. Everything else is right at the 11-mile-an-hour mark.
All right. So you still get people that speed through there.
Yeah, but, and they've been receiving warnings. Somebody showed up today to ask about the warning, thought he had to pay something, and we explained to him that it's not. Said, just after today, slow down. But nobody's exempt from it, to include the police cars. So we've been, every single car that's gotten through there 11 miles or more over, we've sent a violation to.
Thanks. Thanks. Mr. Parker? That was family. Okay. John, you got anything? No? Quiet as always. Gabby,
You're gonna have your time.
you're gonna have it. Gabby, you said a lot tonight. You got anything else?
I'm tired.
Yeah. Bet you-
No, it's end of our year, so we only got about 7 days left in our fiscal year. So Ty and I are trying to get in all of our invoices and do our end of year processes. And then we're gonna adopt the new budget. We'll get that entered. And then on October 1st, that'll go into effect. And then I go on a very long vacation because I'm tired of this.
Get 3 days.
Yeah, what?
There's a new PTO policy.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Kathy?
The Charter Review Committee is meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And next month, we have the Architectural Review Board and the Planning and Zoning Board meeting for amendments to the Briley Farm Phase 2 and 4th Street Village PDs. Business tax renewals are due by the end of the month.
Well, that's a while since we've had a P and Z and a ARB.
Yep, it's been a while.
That's promising.
Mhm.
When you have those, you know something's coming.
Yes.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Coming.
All right, I'll start down with Commissioner Keller.
I just want to echo what I think probably a few people are going to say, but I just thought the block party event, I wish Lynn was here, was amazing. And I appreciate all the town staff effort because I know that Public Works helps and the PD helps. And it was, in my opinion, just an amazing event. Ed and I were talking about how many young little ones there were. And it just, to me, felt like what a small town like we are trying to stay as should feel like. It was a really fun evening. And I also went the week before to the opening of the event at the Heritage Center, which is a great exhibit. And I really encourage everyone to check that out as well. Again, these are awesome things that our town does that are unlike anywhere else. And I'm just grateful that we have the ability to do these things and a great town staff to put them together. So hope we can continue to do more.
Commissioner McMullen?
Yes, thank you. Real quick, on last Friday and Saturday, I was in St. Pete for the Florida League of Cities Board of Directors meeting. And just the highlights of what was discussed there that can come back to home for us. They're going to be doing some extensive training for newly elected, those who've been elected 1 or 2 years or 4 years. So I know we have some budget dollars for some trainings, and so definitely hopefully some of the new elected can plug into some of those new trainings outside of just the regular emo training classes. So they are really going to try to assist newly elected around the state just become better elected officials and just, understand the process and just be that educational arm that we lean on the Florida League of Cities as much as possible. Also, of course, property taxes, hot button, hot button. So to continue to push that narrative as far as having us communicate that to the communities, and there's going to be a lot of educational things coming out, commercials, videos, things of that nature. So just be on the lookout because they're looking forward to us helping with that messaging, because as you just saw the budget tonight, how the Avalon taxes helps or covers our essential services. And then the last thing, of course, I'm always talking about the grant writers. Having a grant writer and email was shared between Gabby and Elise and myself that the Florida League of Cities has approved the full program to help small cities and towns, which most of the cities, the 411 cities in the state of Florida are small, with connecting with grant writers. And so this is going to be a statewide program. Good thing we do have Mr. Parker and others in the town to help us, but there will be another resource for us to plug in if we need to expand our grant writing services. I'm glad you pointed out that $30,000 line item. You never know how we may need to use that, but that will be very important if we do need to come outside the city or the town or the area to help us with grant writing services. The league is growing that program to help facilitate that connection to, because most of the cities and towns in the state are really struggling when it comes to, infrastructure and just the basic needs to stay afloat. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramos.
Just want to mention, I don't know if Elise, you mentioned or forgot last week's lunch, the State of the West Orange Chamber topical luncheon. So I thought it was a really good event, and our mayor, I'm very proud of you. Shane, I mean, you were up there with well-seasoned guys, Rusty Johnson, Okoye, Demings, Mayor Reese from Winter Garden, Windermere. So that you represented us very well. So I say that.
Okay, excuse me. The only thing I have is I told you the last time that I would look into the school where one of the residents concerned about maybe Oakland residents not being able to get in first. So as it turns out, and I got the numbers down, we are in very good shape. When BPK all migrates over into kindergarten, there's still 28 seats left, which is plenty for Oakland folks to come in. I did reach out to the resident that was concerned about it, explained that to him, which he was, very appreciative of. And I will say that as we move forward with the VPK program the way it is, as it starts to look like that might not be the case, we will all revisit something or another, because the goal was for Twin Avenue kids to be, first and foremost to get into the school. But as of today and for the next probably several years, it is not a problem.
Great, thanks for doing that. For me, just a few things here. Thank you, Sal. I did have the privilege of sitting on that panel for the Chamber's State of Orange County address, so that was pretty cool to do that. We talked a little bit about in the last meeting about the fire department meeting that we had with them, so I think we've covered that one. I briefly touched a little bit on our meetings with Orlando Health and discussed them about partnerships and sponsorships. One of the other things we talked to Orlando Health about was bringing facilities to the town. One of the things that I see here is the town sandwiched between two hospitals, Orlando Health's units, which is Claremont, South Lake, and then also you can think Orlando Health or Horizons West as well. So they asked if we had a development matrix, essentially, on town as far as available land and opportunities. So at least did forward that to them, and they are talking to their real estate department, and we'll be passing that along. So hopefully there's some opportunities there for them to bring in medical uses, offices, doctors' offices and stuff to the town. And we'll do the same with Orlando Health, Advent Health, which we're meeting with those folks Thursday afternoon, and we'll ask him to do the same thing. And then again, Commissioner Keller, Friday night's block party was awesome. It was great to see. I would say, I mean, they could account 250 more, maybe.
I don't think they got a good
It
count.
was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot. And what was great was the families. There's a great dynamic shift that's happened in town, which is it's all families. It's all little kids, young kids and stuff. It was awesome to see. So I'd say probably 85%, 90% of people were probably families and young families that were there. So that was really good. We'll make it quick here. And the one thing I had, Mike, and this is jumping on Commissioner Keller's initiative here, is the roundabout and status on that. You know, the landscaping looks great. Things are happening there.
I did notice some landscaping today when I was driving home. I'm ready to get the bag off of the acorn.
Don't tell anybody what that is. All right. Thank you, Mike. All right, with that, I'm good.
Hearts and minds are satisfied. Let's adjourn. It's 7:18.
Lights go out, we gotta.